Oh yeah, we part of our presentation, part of our recruiting presentation was taking advantage of what you have. That I used to say, we have this, Nebraska doesn't. So what we have is beauty. So we had put together presentation packets that sandwiched around all the things that we did at SDSU. We kind of had that subliminal messaging on every other page of different things that we did, and we started making those packets for every other sport in the department. And I think I really spoke to the other things. Scoutware is just no longer really is in use because email is too slow for today's generation, but it used to be an email software program that we would use for recruiting that we actually got a lot of different sports to use. And then mentoring Willie Judd. Willie Judd was our academic advisor. I can't remember exactly when he came in. He wasn't there when I first got there, but he came in shortly thereafter, and it was his first full-time academic advising position.
Okay, now number 9 refers to Ginny Bramer. You see that?
Yes.
And it says, addition of Ginny Bramer has given us someone responsive to our day-to-day needs.
Yes.
Had you had much interaction with Ms. Bramer before 2007?
Yeah, I think Jenny was put in a challenging spot because of the...
Objection, non-responsive, Your Honor.
Non-responsive.
Yeah, that'll be stricken. Start over. Just repeat the question.
I forgot it.
Jenny Bramer.
Have you had much interaction with Ms. Bramer before 2007?
Oh, I see. Yes.
Okay. And so you say here the addition of her. What did you mean by that?
Well, you spoke to how Jeff had asked us to work with different people, so he asked me to mentor Jenny, to empower Jenny, to help her with our experience level instead of not take advantage of her because she didn't have experience, and I thought we sought to do that, which is why I would guess that I wrote that.
All right. Let's go to Exhibit 99. Now, look at it. This is captioned list of support needs, correct?
Yes.
All right, let's go to your support needs. The first one is facility. What do you mean by that?
Well, then Cox Arena, now the AHAS Arena, is not owned by the athletics department, it's owned by the university. So every time we use it, we have to pay, and we have to pay in hour blocks. So if your team wanted to shoot, if someone wanted to shoot in the morning, you had a 4-hour practice window, and if someone wanted to come in an hour before that window, they would have to pay 4 more hours. So the thing about shooting is it's pretty spontaneous, and athletes like to do it a lot at night. So we had a constant challenge with where they can get, to use the term, get shots up. Where can kids get shots up where we don't have to pre-plan it and reserve it? That was a real challenge in the early years.
All right. You say improve relations with current on-campus facilities until / if a practice gym will ever be a reality. The current facility, climate, and chain of command is totally unacceptable. You see that?
I do.
What do you mean by that?
I spoke to Viejas' own, or I'll just say Viejas, everybody knows it used to be called Cox, or I'll leave it to Viejas. Viejas' own, not owned by the athletics department. The recreation center, which was at that time the only other basketball courts in addition to Peterson Gym, which was in our building on campus, was run by Rec Sports. I'm not sure who owned it, but it wasn't the athletics department. So our student athletes were not allowed to go play in the rec center unless they got a membership into that facility. It was a very much, there was not a lot of working, there was not a good working relationship between the athletics department and the people at the ARC at that time, and I felt a lot of that fell to the student athletes were the ones that got hurt.
All right. Summer school. What did that pertain to? Did that pertain to academics?
Yes.
All right. And what was the need for summer school at that time?
This was more a financial issue. This is '07, so in '05 we didn't have summer school, and then we added that. And then when in summer school, a full load is 2 classes, and only incoming freshmen need to take 2 classes. It's because our sport, we compete fall and spring. So most sports get one or the other. So we have a kind of a mid-season period where we're not in school. And in order to, and we travel a lot from really November to hopefully deep into March. So summer is a time for if you have to take a foreign language. Some classes are harder to be away and do. It's easier to do them. You have a foreign language, you have a math class, classes that they really need to attend the class versus being able to do perhaps a social class that they can do missing class. So we had asked for certain students that were maybe at higher academic risk, let them focus on taking 1 class at a time so they can get a B or an A to give them a good GPA bump and get the core that they need. But the financial situation was they still needed housing, they still needed meals, they still needed all the things that they could do. And initially they required that they had to take 2 classes, which was sometimes too much for some kids to do.
All right. Did that problem ever get corrected?
Yes.
All right. Next one is food, housing, and training table. What was the need there?
Well, that was just a wish list by every person there that there's no food or coffee or anything in that facility. So whenever you'd have recruits or guests or something, you had to kind of get in your car and go. So we had talked and brainstormed for years about doing something to bring food to the area.
Okay, the camp issue. What was that?
That was an issue. I spoke a little bit about how there were 3 kind of separate entities for the 3 separate facilities. We aspired to negotiate a camp contract to where we could get a break on renting the facilities. I can't remember exact numbers. I'll ballpark. It was $7,500 a day to rent Viejas. It was about $1,000, $1,100. Now I'm going back about 10 years of the ARC, the recreation facility. It was about $660 for Peterson Gym, and that had to be out of pocket before you made a dime. The second challenge is if you can't get your camp dates secure, if you can't have them hold those facilities, then you can't advertise your camp. So it kind of became a chicken and an egg situation. If the Viejas gave us dates and then had an opportunity for a big concert, then they could bump us out of Viejas. So we tried to negotiate into our contract, can we at least get the facility fees waived, and can we get a date by October 1st of each year so we can advertise during our basketball games, our girls' camps will be these dates.
Did you ever resolve that?
No.
Was the camp issue of importance to you?
It sure was.
Why?
It's just a huge recruiting advantage. It's the only time for a high school athlete, it's the only time for you to be able to work with a high school athlete. I spoke about how we go and watch them, or they can come and watch us. But we're not allowed to touch them, to teach them, to see how they learn. And a camp gives you an opportunity not only for you to assess their ability, but for your team and your athletes to see whether or not this is someone you want to have on your team and vice versa. You know how camp is. You take your kid to summer camp, they're scared the first 10 minutes, and 2 days later they're crying because they don't want to leave. So it's an opportunity to have people on campus to showcase our program. The year that we did have an elite camp and a team camp was a year that we signed some really good players that we were able to get to camp, but we couldn't afford it.
Okay, let's move on to publicity and specifically media guides. Tell us, you're familiar with the term media guide?
Yes.
All right, and in the context of the women's basketball program at San Diego State, while you were there the second time, what was the media guide?
A media guide a rule has changed midstream, so I'm going to give you from the start. When we first arrived, the media guide was the one publication that you were allowed as a sport to have a color copy. They have all kinds of rules to have a color copy where you can showcase your team, yourself, your facilities, your community, etc. So a media guide was critical not only to establish who you are, it's something that you would send out, mail out to recruits to make them want to come visit your campus, and then when we made our September 9th begins when coaches make home visits to prospects. You take your media guides with you to that home visit. It lets them kind of thumb through, this is San Diego State, this is what it looks like, this is Viejas Arena, this is my staff if everyone's not with me, etc. It's a very important recruiting piece. It's called media guides because they were originally invented for the media, and the media still use them. So when they're observing a game, they can say number 88 is this guy and number 24 is that's why the term, but it really has, it morphed into a huge recruiting piece.
Were they important to you?
Yes.
All right. Were you able to get media guides in a timely fashion most years while you were at San Diego State, second time?
Objection.
No.
Let's look at Exhibit 191.
Is that in?
No, it's not, Your Honor. Don't publish it yet, Danielle.
It is stipulated.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No,
It's okay.
What is it?
It's an email, Your Honor, an email string regarding media guides starting back.
No objection. All right, no objection, 191 is in, you can publish it.
You have 191 in front of you, Coach Burns?
Yes.
All right. Let's go to 191.
Second page.
Yes, second page, 191.2. Is this an email from you to Jeff Schimmel, CC Tammy, meaning Tammy Stevens and Jenny Bramer?
Yes.
And I think that's December 13, 2007.
December 13th, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Please blow it up. Blow up the text. So you say a note to ensure that you have a file memo that we still do not have a 2007-2008 media guide. You see that?
Yes.
Now, this is December of 2007.
Yes.
So when normally did you receive or hope to receive your media guide each year?
Media Day was traditionally the first week of October. Media Day. Media guides were targeted for the first week of October for our Media Day, which is a time when we all head coaches from all your conference schools would go to a certain location and meet with the media. So they use these media guides to ask you questions, etc.
So as of December 13 of 2007, at least, you did not have a media guide. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when you have the media day and you go to the media day without a media guide, is there any significance to that from your perspective as a head coach?
Yes.
What is it?
Well, it's embarrassing to, I mean, as I listed in here, this is certainly not something I should recall, but BYU, CSU, UNLV, Wyoming, Utah, New Mexico, and TCU, their media guides were there. And so we, because we didn't have a media guide prepared, had, kind of a staple roster sheet and statistics, which, as I referenced in the email, I thought Peggy Curtin, who worked with us, did the best she could under her time constraints.
And you were complaining to Jeff Schimmel there and copying Jenny Bramer.
Yes, well, I mean, the ship had, yes, it was late December. It was kind of, I wanted to explain to him in case he wasn't aware of what our uses were for it from a timely standpoint, so that's why I laid out the first paragraph, so in hopes that it wouldn't happen again the following year.
Okay, so we go to page 1. December 14th, the bottom, please. December 14, Jeff Schimmel writes to Mike May, C.C. Steve Snob. Who was Mike May?
Mike May was the head of the media relations department.
And what was his role, if any, relative to the media guide?
Well, it's his department.
Okay. So Schimmel asks May where you are with the media guides. What's the timing like? And we go to the email following that, December 17, 2007. Jenny Bramer asks, what the answer is, correct?
Yes.
And she says, I asked a while back and didn't get a response from this. Men's was out ages ago. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
All right. And then we go up to January the 11th. Jenny Bramer again asks for a response. And on January 12th, at the top, Jeff Schimmel says, and he responds and says, yes, and the plan is that will not happen again. You see that?
I do.
Do you have any thoughts or beliefs as to whether that problem with the media guide and you're pushing for it caused you any conflict with Mike May?
I believe it did.
And why?
Well, again, I think to try to paint a picture of things that hadn't been done in the past, and now someone wants them, and so it's requiring people to do things that they hadn't done in the past. And I think women's basketball, our program, were resented because of it.
Objection, move to strike. That lacks foundation and speculation.
It's speculative.
Well, let me ask
Foundation.
I'll lay a foundation. Do you have any basis for that belief that speculation you just expressed?
Yes.
All right. Tell us.
The question I think is it just your assumption or speculation, or is there some evidence that what you said actually was in his mind? Isn't that?
Are we talking about this one specific situation?
Yes.
It's my it didn't get fixed. It was a constant issue.
Move to strike. The answer is being non-responsive.
That would be stricken and disregarded.
Okay.
Did the media guide publication timeliness issue get fixed?
It was a chronic problem. I'm not sure that year.
Anytime.
It was a chronic problem.
And was Mike May the head of the media department the whole time you were there?
Yes.
All right. Now, you had employment agreements at various stages during your tenure at San Diego State, correct?
Yes.
Let's go to Exhibit 66. Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 66 is in.
Thank you. Let's go to page 3. And just for the record, you've looked at it, correct?
Yes.
And you recognize this as your employment agreement that was entered into in 2007, correct?
Yes.
Is that September 11, 2007?
It is. Yes.
All right. Now let's go to paragraph 3. Bonus plan.
C.
And I want to go to paragraph C. C2. Revenue bonuses. Coach may earn up to an additional $20,000 per year in revenue bonuses based on season and single game ticket sales as follows. And then they give you season single ticket game revenue is $50,000 to $70,000, and I think there's another bullet on the next page.
Next page.
Revenue bonus $10,000, $10,000. Season ticket and single game revenue is $70,000 and above, $20,000. Metrics to be adjusted as ticket prices increase. Did you ever get that bonus?
No.
Why not?
We signed this contract in September, and come to find out as we get to the time that we're starting to see season tickets advertised, that there were no season tickets for women's basketball.
So you didn't get any money?
Well, I had to call Jeff Schemmel and said I have a contractual clause that I can get a bonus for selling season tickets, but our department doesn't sell women's basketball season tickets.
What did he say?
I'm not sure I can repeat it.
Okay.
He was upset. He had no idea. He had no idea, and I had no idea.
Right.
It was negotiated in good faith.
All right.
But suffice it to say, he said he would fix it.
All right. Did he?
I'm sorry?
Did he fix it? Was he able to fix it, to your knowledge?
He had people create a women's basketball season ticket, yes.
All right. I don't know if I moved 66 into evidence. I think I did. But
No objection.
thank you.
Same, if it isn't already.
Yeah. Let's go to 2008. And your performance review for that year, Exhibit 43. Any objection?
Okay.
Okay. Coach Brett, I'm not going to go through this exhibit in the same detail that I went through the prior head coach evaluation form. I just want to focus on .5 and 43.6. And as we're getting there, you recognize this as your performance review for the year 2007 to 2008.
Yes.
Right. Now, on page 5 of exhibit number 43, there's a list of goals for the coming year. You see that?
Yes.
And down here under number 3, mentor and guide new coaches and staff. Maintain positive SDSU outlook. You see that?
Yes.
Number 3. Can you blow that up? In any event, now, why did you have the goal of mentor and guide new coaches and staff?
Why?
Yes.
Well, maintain a positive SDSU outlook. It's just within our building, it's an inordinate amount of work to build. It's a little bit easier once it's up and running. It takes a lot out of people. And I thought it was important. We're starting to turn the corner. We had a young team that we had to maintain to start seeing what we'd accomplished instead of all the challenges. So that's my job in my suite to make sure all our people are able to do that.
Okay. And number 5 is continue to educate our team in how to communicate and relationship with others. You see that?
Yes.
All right. Why did you have that as a goal?
when you're building a team, oftentimes you have a lot. We signed 9 people my first recruiting class. We kind of mixed and matched, had a transfer or a junior college athlete, so they weren't all the same age. But essentially, the talented core of your team is really young, away from home for the first time. And I think one of the challenges on any team, on any family, is people come from different backgrounds with what's acceptable behavior, what's acceptable for a team. And when you're on a team, you have to figure out, you have to sacrifice a part of yourself for the common good. And everybody had to do that, and I think it was more a matter of making sure that we could represent San Diego State with class and with pride, both on and off the court, whether it's behaviorally, things that have happened outside the court as well as on the court.
Number 4 was graduate a particular student, academic support and mentoring your academic growth and development. Why was that a goal for 2008-2009?
Well, without referring, this student athlete in particular had a really unique family experience. I didn't recruit her. She was an incoming freshman when I arrived. She got off the city bus with a hefty bag with her clothes in it to come to school. She'd been at a large public high school. Her mother was incarcerated. She lived with different coaches because she was about 5'6" and her heart was about 10'2", and she didn't have a lot of the academic preparation that perhaps some other people did, but we felt that with her spirit and attitude, even though it was really challenging for her, we could get her through. So that was kind of a personal goal of all of ours to make sure it happens.
Did you succeed?
We did.
Let's turn to the next page of Exhibit 43. It's 43.6. Item number 1, these are needs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 1 is a home court advantage. What do you mean by that?
Well, basketball is a very home court advantage type sport. Your fans are allowed to sit very close to where you compete. We don't wear helmets. People can see your faces, can see your emotions, and having lots of excitement in the house can really help give your team the juice that it needs to be successful. We had continued to develop in the gym to get a better and better product on the floor. We were starting to build a pretty exciting brand of basketball, so we were hoping we could do things to get some people to come watch us play.
Okay. Number 3, administrative support and direction on systems beyond our control that directly affect our success, my reputation, and our student athletes' daily lives. Housing, meals, facilities. Third set of rules in our 3rd year. Point person CCs, all other senior staff or support people to keep moving forward. What were you referring to there, ma'am?
The housing was tricky. Mr. Oberhelman testified a little bit to it this morning. Tricky, I'm not trying to be deceiving. On-campus housing hadn't been built in quite a while, and we were trying to find creative ways to be close to campus and still have it be considered on-campus housing. The academic advisor director at the time, we are in 07-08, I believe, is Colleen Evans. This was also one of her hats. She was in charge of housing and meals, not facilities, but she had to work with all different people on campus to accomplish these things, and then everybody in the building would be CC'd on these things, and every year would be different rules with how to reserve your housing, how to keep your housing. Every year was different. And we were hoping that if we could have a consistent person that we all could go to, then we'd stop having all the challenges.
Okay.
It's hard to describe. I don't think I did a very good job of it, but
But housing was an issue.
it was.
All right. Facilities, anything there on facilities, any particular problems that you complained about?
Well, with facilities, kind of going into the home court advantage, is all of these are recruiting things. These are not only for your students. Your students want to have a great opportunity, is to be able to do things within the facilities, whether it's a pre-game booster event or a post-game booster event, where we can do things to entice and attract new people to come to our games and to support us.
And did you receive any response to any of these needs requests from the administration of the athletic department at San Diego State?
Objection, lacks foundation. What requests are we talking about?
Sustained.
You see the needs list?
Yes.
You submitted them to Jeff Schimmel and to who else was?
But you submitted them to Jeff. He wanted your needs and
All right. Submitted it to him. And did the administration of the athletic department respond to your request for establishing a home court advantage?
Objection, that lacks foundation. It's vague and ambiguous. How can
She submitted a request to Jeff, but the question asks, is a more global, you're asking for a more global response. Is the question, did Jeff respond?
I'll be happy to. Thank you, Your Honor. Did Mr. Schimmel respond directly to you, or to your knowledge, did he direct anyone else to respond to your needs request?
Mr. Schimmel wouldn't be, to the best of my knowledge, he would direct someone else to do that.
All right, and to your knowledge, did he do
I
it?
don't know if the answer is yes or no.
Well, okay. Focus with me here. Who else was in the review with you for your 2007-2008 review? Do you recall?
I have to look at my signature page.
Because it's not there.
Yeah, sometimes it would just be me and Mr. Schimmel. Sometimes it would be with Mr. Schimmel and Jenny Bramer. I really can't speak to this specific one.
All right. In any event, when you submitted these needs to Mr. Schimmel, do you know if he directed someone to respond to them?
objection, lacks foundation.
Do you know?
She either knows or doesn't know.
How would she know?
Maybe she doesn't know
You can answer yes or no, correct, Your Honor?
at this point.
Yes, he directed.
Hold on, please.
Okay.
Just to follow up here to make sure we can do this right. How do you know that he directed someone to respond to your needs?
Well, I guess I really don't know that. I'm saying that marketing people would come, and it took a lot of complaining because we really wanted people to come to our games. So I don't know if I'm answering correctly.
Objection, move to strike the answers.
Well, no, you're answering correctly, but there was no foundation then for the last
Okay.
the answer. So
Did
she's speculating at this point that he directed somebody because things got done, I guess.
After you submitted this list of needs, did people in the administration of the Department of Athletics at San Diego State come to you and address any of these 5 categories that are on your needs list?
No.
Let's go next to Exhibit 44. Move admission of 44.
Any objection?
It's the 2008-2009 performance review.
No objection.
Right. 88 is in, or 44 is in.
Thank
This
you.
is housekeeping, moved to mid 43. It was officially mid.
And I didn't move to mid 43, I'm reminded, so I would do that as well.
That was the needs request?
That was the performance review, the last document that we were talking about, and the needs request was part of that, Your Honor.
Any objection to 43?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 43 is in.
Look at the back of Exhibit 44, Coach Burns. Is there a signature page there on page 44.6?
Yes,
And you signed it, did you?
I did.
Jeff Schimmel signed it?
He did.
You recognize the other name there?
Jenny Bramer.
All right. Did you have a sit-down with them at the time of this performance review?
Yes,
All right.
I would presume so. I'm not sure that I can read it. It looks like 8-6. We signed it at a different time than we had the meeting. Is what
All right.
I think happened.
Okay. In any event, on management and administration, your score was for appropriate interaction with support staff was a 3, correct?
Yep. Yes.
And the comments there are, again, you and your staff represent San Diego State in a first-class manner. When your group is around, there is no doubt who you are and what you represent. Next paragraph goes on to say, personally cultivate relationships in the building and ensure your staff is doing the same. You are the best asset of the women's basketball program. Maximize your allies in the department and know those relationships carry on to campus. They go on to the next page, encouraging you to expand your speaking engagements. And go on to say, you are an excellent messenger of Aztec good news. Make sure your presence is publicized through our resources. And then they go on to urge you to beware of the people you're working with, that they spend countless hours for you and your student athletes. They say criticism okay, but a thank you somewhere along the way will keep them positively supporting your program. See that?
I do.
Now, did you discuss those comments with Mr. Schimmel and or Ms. Bramer to your recollection in that review?
We did.
Right? And what do you recall being told by either Mr. Schimmel or Ms. Bramer in that comment period regarding your management and administration? Specifically focusing on
the comments.
what you were being encouraged to do.
To continue to, I mean, as I said, we didn't go over this document, if you will. It was more handed to you, and what they would do is continue to do the good things that you're doing. You're an ambassador for our program. Please continue to let us help you fight the battles that you need to on a daily basis. Please and thank you, and things like that. So we definitely talked it through, and they, you know, thanked me for the things that we've been doing and encouraged us to keep it up, and told me to continue to work on, you know, being inclusive with everybody.
How did you feel about it?
Not responsive.
It's really not. It's not responsive.
Okay, well, let me try again.
Why don't you rephrase the question? I'm not sure she understood.
Okay. response to what you were told in this review that we just read in the comments, how did you take that?
Fine.
Okay? How'd you feel about it?
About the review?
Yes, about the comments on your interaction with people in the department, etc.
Well, I wanted to do right, and obviously they were continuing to ask me to relationship with people, and so I feel bad. I'm very direct, and when I expect something, I try to have real clear lines of communication. Obviously, to me, not speculating, but obviously it was rubbing some people the wrong way. I guess it is me to speculate that I think that when they hadn't had to do anything in any of these areas, and all of a sudden a group of people come in, spearheaded by myself, and ask for this, after this, after this, after this, after this, that people didn't want to do it.
What did you do in response to this request or suggestion from either Mr. Schimmel or Ms. Bramer?
Some of the things I referenced earlier, it depended on the situation, it depended on the person, whether it was a cup of coffee, a thank you note, sending flowers. A lot of times I was asked to speak, so whenever I'm asked to speak, picking a certain person to publicly thank somebody for doing, the wind beneath your wings, if you will, when you were doing something like that. I mean, there's a myriad of things that I would try to focus to do to make sure I followed up on what he had asked me to do.
Did Mr. Schimmel or Ms. Bramer ever talk to you about the specific subjects of berating, demeaning, or yelling that you can recall?
In 2010?
We're on 2008, okay?
Yes.
2009.
Yes.
And your review of 2009 it was in
Yes.
the summer of August of 2009.
Yes. No, in general.
And did they ever use those terms with you? Berating, demeaning, or yelling?
No.
Let's go next to a different subject here. Subject of banners. What are banners, Coach Burns?
Banners are what you get to get after you win a championship. You get to hang a banner. So it's sometimes just metaphorical. Teams work because they want to get a banner. They talk about their banner. And then when you accomplish a conference championship, a conference tournament championship, NCAA, NIT, in our sport specifically, we like to hang banners.
What's the significance, if any, of a banner, and specifically women's basketball?
Well, it's an accomplishment. It's a permanent. Bring your children back, sit, look up. I did that kind of thing. It's something that goes on forever.
Okay. And what happened in 2008 and 2009 with respect to the women's basketball season?
With banners?
Well, what was your season like then?
2008, 2009, we won the first ever Mountain West Conference championship.
Okay. And then did you go beyond or did you go into postseason play?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that postseason play?
We received a bid into the NCAA tournament. 64 teams are invited into the NCAA tournament.
Okay. And so you go into the NCAA tournament as one of 64 teams, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And when you do things like that, well, what was the outcome of your experience in the NCAA tournament that year? Did you win or not?
We were a 7-10 seed. We beat DePaul in the first round game, and we lost to Stanford in the second round game to go to the Sweet 16.
All right. Now, when the men's teams won the conference, or when they went to the NCAA, do you know whether banners were hung in the arena noting that accomplishment?
Yes.
And did you get to hang banners in Viejas for your NCAA tournament experience and your Mountain West Conference championship?
Just this specific year,
Yes.
we had an issue.
What was the issue?
We had won conference championships in the past, and when you win a conference championship or a tournament championship, you put the banner up and it says Mountain West Conference Championship. And then if you get into, there's two different tournaments, an NCAA tournament and an NIT tournament. If you get into the NCAA tournament or NIT, you get a different banner. So one represents more the body of your regular season, and one is for postseason play.
Okay. Did you get separate banners for your season performance that year?
We did not.
Why not, if you know?
Lax foundation so far.
Do you know why you didn't get banners that year?
I was told we couldn't.
Who told you that?
Don Oberhelman.
What did he tell you?
He said that they want to redo all of the banners in Viejas, and this year he agreed that we could have a banner, but he wanted to put everything we accomplished on one banner. He did not want us to have a separate banner for the Mountain West Conference and for the NCAA tournament.
Did you disagree with Mr. Oberhelman?
I did, and offered to have a donor pay for it. It cost $800 a piece, so we offered to get a donor or to pay out of pocket.
What was his response?
No.
Did he ever tell you why?
No.
And in subsequent years, or that year and beyond, did the men's team get separate banners for championships in the conference and postseason play?
That year they were in the NIT, and yes, they got an NIT banner.
Okay, did they win the conference or not that year?
No.
Okay. But in subsequent years, when they won the conference, in subsequent
In
years...
prior years, yes.
I'm sorry?
In prior years, they had.
Okay, they'd won the conference and gone into the tournament?
They had won the conference tournament, and so thusly had a banner that said Mountain West Conference Tournament Champions.
And then in those years, have they gone into postseason play?
Yes.
Did they get a separate banner for their postseason tournament?
Yes.
Exhibit 201 you recognize this as an email string commencing in October of 2009, going into November of 2009, exchanging between Jenny Bramer, Tammy Stevens, and you relative to banners. Just answer it yes or no.
Give me 1 second, please. Yes.
All right. No problem.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right.
Thank you. Publish it, please. Now, if you see the email dated October 29, 5:41 from Jenny Bramer, she communicated with you regarding the banners, correct?
That was the marketing people communicating to Jenny, yes?
Oh, we put up the wrong one.
Yeah.
I want the one above that,
At the top.
the one just above that. Okay, Beth, here are the revised proofs. We asked Jeremy to put the second round on the bottom, but he sent it back to the top, and so forth, and asked you for your choice. And then After that, Tammy Stevens sent an email to Jenny saying that the revised proofs look great. And then Jenny writes on November 2 to Tammy Stevens and you, saying, I am still hopping mad, but I know you will spin how this one banner is even better than the men's since it has NCAA on it. So did you and Jenny have a colloquy or discussion back and forth about two banners versus one?
She was in the meeting with Don Oberholman and myself.
Did you and Jenny discuss it?
Yes.
All right. And was Jenny supportive of your desire to have two banners?
Yes.
Nonetheless, you didn't get them?
No. No, sir.
And in that banner issue discussion, did the discussions sometimes get heated?
Not really in this one. It was pretty black and white. It was hard to understand.
Did you raise your voice?
No.
Let's go to your performance review for 2010, Exhibit 46.
Either.
No.
All right. So,
Thank you. And I want to focus on management and administration, specifically appropriate interaction with support staff. You get a 2 here, correct?
Yes.
Now, a 2 means, pardon me, that you need improvement, correct?
Yes.
And under the comments section of this category, there's some comments. But I want to, before we focus on that, I want to ask you about 2010 and whether there was an incident involving a Jay Larson at San Diego State.
Yes.
When did that incident occur?
At the Sweet 16,
When did that incident occur?
March of 2016.
What was you? Where were you when that occurred?
In a hotel
Where?
in Memphis, Tennessee,
What were you doing in Memphis, Tennessee, if I may ask?
playing in the Sweet 16.
Okay. And tell me what happened at that. Well, let me back up and ask a more specific question here. Did something happen at the Sweet 16 that upset you?
Yes.
And this is outside of the game, before the game, correct?
Yes.
What happened that upset you in March of 2016 at the Sweet 16?
2010.
2010.
2010. We arrived, the NCAA arranges all your transportation once you're in the NCAA tournament. A lot more people get to go. So we had our own plane going in on I'll say a Friday.
Beth Burns, I just want you to focus on the event that upset you, okay? And the events surrounding it. Can you do that?
Sure.
Okay, please do that.
The event was that Mr. Larson spoke to two student athletes and told them they could be potentially ineligible.
Now, when that happened, when Mr. Larson did that have any impact to your knowledge on the players?
Yes.
And what did you learn or what did you observe about...
Can I just make a clarification? Which players are we talking about?
Well, I don't know. Do we want to name the players or...
I wasn't new.
Are we talking about the two sisters
Yes.
involved?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I just need to know who.
Fine, that's fair. Thank you.
The other question is, what did you learn or what did you observe, which are two separate questions. So
I'll break it down. Tell us what you learned about what Mr. Larson had done relative to these two players.
Again, I would just ask that it go to a limited purpose. It's hearsay, but it can go in for what Coach Burns learned and not for the truth of the fact.
I assume she's going to relate what somebody told her, but I don't know. Okay. But is the question, what was she told or what did she observe?
Well, what were you told? And then we'll get to what you observed, okay? What were you told about what Mr. Larson did?
By whom? Objection.
By anybody.
Objection.
Anybody at San Diego State.
Prior to when he spoke to the two athletes?
Well, let me back up. Maybe I was trying to cut to the chase too fast here. At some point in time, did you...
Would this be a good time to break? I don't want to get involved in it.
I think I need one, Your Honor. So I think the way it's going, I think I need a break. So.
All right, let's take 15 minutes. Be back at 3 o'clock. Thanks. Don't talk about the case.
Ouch.
Please have everyone stand for the jury.
I'm assuming she's going to say somebody told her the two sisters were really upset.
Absolutely, Your Honor. I mean, there was a big deal down there.
I know, but are we okay or?
Well, there's.
Do you want this on the record?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry.
I guess it's for why it's being offered. Are we on?
We're on.
All right.
I guess my concern is why it's being offered. It's offered for the truth and the fact that's asserted.
I don't know, but it is hearsay.
It is hearsay.
She was upset.
If the girl, the student
Yes.
says
State of mind.
something,
It's her state of mind.
Her state of mind, they are making a big deal about her unloading on this guy Larson down at Memphis. And her state of mind, she's got a reason for that, and she needs to explain why this came about.
Well, she can, but I don't think she can. But it is hearsay.
It's an exception to the hearsay rule.
No, I don't think so.
yeah.
Well,
I think there are things that she had the incident with Jay Larson. There are conversations I think she had with people that are admissible, but I'm just concerned.
This was mentioned in opening statement, I think, and I think
Your Honor,
this is the one where he said something, but then he was wrong, or then he made everything right, or something. I don't know.
He was their compliance officer. Who
Yeah.
looked into the issue.
she's going to explain how she came to learn what he said. She's going to explain how she came to learn what he said to the girls, just in the
it's
elevator.
hearsay to you.
It's not. There's no lengthy discourse.
Does she know where he's
It just shows her reaction. So the player said, "Hey," he came to us and said, "We're ineligible." And so she said, "Oh gosh, what are we going to do about that?" And she was upset.
That's not true.
Judge, we're going to clear this up because a representative of San Diego State communicated information to Coach Burns that will explain the situation.
All I'm saying is that what she was told would be hearsay.
No, it's not, because one of the people who, well, it's an out-of-court statement, I have to prove what it says, but it's coming from a San Diego State person that she worked with who was in the administration of the athletic department.
But that wasn't what the question is.
It's not what the question was.
Okay, I know it wasn't, and that's why the court...
So you're going to do it,
I'm going to do it.
Resolve it.
And it still needs to be an authorized admission. He can't just say someone from San Diego State said
No, I'll specify the person.
And I don't have any problem getting into this. I just don't know where it's going when these open-ended questions.
I'm not sure where it's going either, but I'm assuming she's told that the reaction of these girls was that they were upset. And that's not a shock, I don't think.
Not at all, and there's a lot more.
No, I mean, I don't think it's a shock at all. You got two players who were told on the eve of the Sweet 16 game, and you might be ineligible. And I'd be pretty upset too. So
And then it was clarified the next day.
okay, so you can resolve it.
Maybe not. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Well, they played.
Let me just, while it's on my mind, just for 1 second. Is that okay?
Sure.
On this issue of the retirement, the case, and we're talking about this, frankly, the Rice Kurzman versus Marin Community College, that's the retirement
Yes.
case, which I think is an awful decision. But there's a counselor who's demoted and then files an action for wrongful demotion. Would this be the time to do it or not? I don't know.
You know, I'd rather get the motion back out and take it.
All right, I'll do it when you're...
Yeah, if you don't mind, Your Honor.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
I just am trying to resolve one little issue.
Okay. That's fine. Let me just refresh.
Okay.
Your Honor, may I? Yeah.
What time do you want us back, Your Honor?
Couple extra minutes.
That was just last year.